Welcome, everybody, to episode 104 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. What a week in basketball, hey? Oh, wait. We have had basketball. It was on last week's episode. The World Championships ended. Did you hear that? And the USA didn't attend. Redeem Team 2.0. We'll call it the Revengers. Wait, what is it? I don't know. I don't even. They're angry.
Do you want to quickly touch on? It's not in the run sheet, but do you want to talk about it?
About the US losing or the US going on a tear?
So
LeBron coming out and saying we'll avenge the loss, kind of thing.
Let me put it this way. First of all, I should say hello, everybody. I hope you're well.
Yes, hi everyone. We're straight into it.
Okay, so I would say to you, what's the three players that's on your mind since you've been watching the World Championships? For me, it's easy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the three players that weren't involved, or the three players that have been mentioned about this Avengers lineup?
People that played. Well, we can talk about that. So my question to you now, though, is people who played in this current World Championships, who has piqued your hobby interest after the World Championships?
Hobby interest? No one.
Austin Reeves. Me, Austin Reeves, like absolutely with a bullet. I think that. Anthony Edwards, for me, has solidified himself as someone that I was already high on Edwards, but now this is just, really just put me into an echo chamber. And then the next one, I think this is the really big one, though, is Franz Wagner. I think he's...
Oh, okay.
He was already emerging. Like, if you've been watching the Magic last season, this is a little bit of old news to you, but I think doing it on the world stage is important.
Yeah.
And then I think this is going to put more eyes onto the Magic next year. And can I just say, guys, think about this. 40% of the Magic's lineup played at the World Championships and played pretty well. Like, Banchero was good.
Yeah.
Wagner was, electric in some of the parts.
Yes.
So watch the Magic. And look, they're going to be on the national TV schedule more next year. So I think, this is going to be happening.
Yeah. Well, I was excited about the fact that, well, not really excited about it. We've got this amazing Australian lineup ready for the Olympics, and now the US have got a chip on their shoulder, and LeBron's recruiting Curry, Durant, and the crew to come back and dominate the Olympics.
Hang on a second, though. But how much of that is just our own bias towards our own team? Like, just as much as the Americans think that they should win, and the Aussies think, we should win. Actually, Latvia was probably better than us, realistically.
Yeah, we were trash. Let's be real. We went in with big heads and got smashed as a result. No, I just think I like the USA playing with lineups rather than going in with the super team. Yeah, like I like the opportunities afforded to people like Austin Reeves and Anthony Edwards. You know what I mean? Like
Edwards is now going to be solidified for the 2014. Like, there's no conversation about that.
Yeah, but it's the other opportunities because Wagner might not be. You don't offer, Reeves might not play.
Reeves, I think he'll be tricky.
Do you know what I mean? Like you're getting the likes of Curry, LeBron, Durant, Booker. You're getting all of the superstars together to avenge the US not getting a medal at the FIBA World Cup.
Yeah.
And I think the thing there is don't have a sook about it. Just try and be better. Have your development squad be better. Because you shouldn't have to get mum and dad to go and fight the kids' battles, or I'm going to go and get my older brother to bash you up because we weren't good enough.
I do agree with that a little bit, but at the same time, you also have to. Yeah, like Jokic didn't play.
Yeah.
So, realistically, they could have been better, and that's kind of fun.
True. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I've just changed the run sheet live.
Yeah,
so the first thing
I may have accidentally bumped it up the run sheet.
Yeah. So you've segued this out. That's totally fine. So this is from @ESPN NBA on my favorite platform, Twitter, or as it's now known as X. The ultimate Team USA lineup for the 2024 Olympics. Kevin Pelton fills out his roster. So the image has got Curry, Booker, LeBron, Durant, and very cheekily Embiid. So that would mean he'd have to be naturalized US citizen for that to happen. But it's not the first time a center has naturalized. So Hakeem naturalized and played for Team
Yep.
USA.
Yep.
So it's not out of the question that Embiid would do that. But so my question for you was, who is your starting five for the Team USA?
Oh wow. Like I'd run that lineup out, and then who do I play at center? Would I play Embiid? I guess. I mean, you would. It wouldn't really matter who you run out at the five, does it? Does it really matter who you run out at the five with those four on the floor?
So where USA got into a little bit of trouble at these championships was rebounding. So I think having someone that can rebound.
So that's where
the other thing that is quite handy in international is someone that can shoot the ball. So, Embiid fills that quite nicely.
Yeah, right. Embiid fills that, rounds that out. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
But that's not my answer. I'm just helping you fill your answer out.
I don't know. I don't know who I'd have my five. I agree with the five they've put forward. I can't think of anyone else that I'd rather, because all the names that I come up with are international players.
Yeah, it's really fun, isn't it? For the big man, there's not a crazy amount.
I'm like, I'll
US
run KD at the center, and wait,
yeah,
what do we get? Thomas Bryant, Kevon Looney. Oh no, is he? I don't even know.
JaVale McGee.
JaVale McGee. Marvin Bagley.
All right. So there's three on there that I agree with: Steph, LeBron, and Durant. I think that's no-brainers.
Yeah.
Now, for my five, I'm actually going to go with Bam Adebayo. He's already an American citizen, so I'm going to eliminate Embiid straight out of that. Yep. The other reason why I like him is because defensively he's quite polished. He's not the greatest rebounder, but I think he's a better rebounder than Triple J. And then defensively, he can hold up his own. So I'll go with that. Now, this is where I actually struggled, was the shooting guard, because I think the reason why Clay and Steph are so good together is because Clay can defend the best backcourt opponent, whether it's point guard or shooting guard. So I think that's actually important in the international game. And I think Booker is not as good a defender as what Clay is. So this is where my thinking went. So what's the best version of Klay Thompson in the NBA? So Marcus Smart came to mind. So then he can defend the one or the two. He's an excellent defender, and he can shoot enough, but I'm not too sure he fits the persona that they probably want to put forward. He's a bit of a knucklehead.
Yeah.
So actually, the one I settled on was Bridges.
Oh, really?
They had Bridges defending the one.
True.
In the World Championships. The guy can just fit into it, and then the other thing too is
he's a three, isn't he? Like he's
I think you could play him as a two though. Like
sure.
In a team like this, right?
Yeah.
With LeBron and Durant and Curry, I think he would fit in there because he's definitely got the athleticism for it. And then on the other side of the coin, then he can defend like the 3 and the 4, quite well too. So defensively, I really like that. So that would be the team that I would be sending off. And I like that sort of.
Would you get someone like Kawhi healthy?
So that's the other reason why I picked Bam, is because I thought that was a realistic, goal, or realistically something could happen. Like, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. I've seen those names being thrown around saying they'll be in Team USA, but
I've seen Anthony Davis, and I'm like, nah, he'll only play 3 games.
Same. That's right. And probably Anthony Davis is a better pick than Adebayo, but I don't think that, he has the health for it too.
Yeah.
So now that we're talking about the Clippers for 2 seconds, though, the owner of the Clippers,
the new owner,
he's the ex-Microsoft guy. He goes crazy on the sidelines. His name's lost. Anyway,
I can't even remember him. Yep.
I was listening to him on a podcast the other day, and he was speaking about what he wants the team to be. So, they want the team to be good when they go into their new arena, which I get that. But at the same time,
interesting.
I don't believe that they would then extend. Steve Ballmer's his name. I don't think they would extend the courtesy of them playing international basketball. The logic, that to me is like too much of a stretch for them to be.
Can't play the regular season. Why would they play for their country? Yeah,
and he spent a lot of money on that team. So I don't see that. To me, that logic is just not there. That's the whole Mark Cuban rule, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fair.
But Booker, I think is going to be on the team. I can definitely see that. But
Booker will be there. You're right. You probably need some 3-and-D guys that are, do you know what I mean? Like some good, solid defenders.
And I hate to say
Bridges
this, but
is actually probably right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Edwards played really well. I would be shocked if he's not there on the next team. Anyway, final thoughts on this. This was just supposed to be a quick hitter.
It'll be interesting to see what happens come the Olympics. But it's always funny to see the USA overreact when they lose.
I mean, I want to see a loaded up team. Like, send your best team. I want to see it.
LeBron started filming the Netflix special already. Come on, let's be real.
Of course he has. Of course he has. Like that 1992 team was awesome.
Yep.
Like, send your best players.
Like the
load
Dream
it up.
Team's great. Cool. The Redeem Team doco's great. Let's say the Redeem Team, whatever they call it. Whatever they brand this version of the Redeem Team.
Yep.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. That's for sure.
Alrighty. So this next segment is all about the top 10 NBA players of all time, and the reason we're doing this topic is because I've kept all the notes from all of our podcasts, and we haven't done a lot on some of the bigger players. So we haven't done very much on Jordan. Considering
that surprises me. Like, it's just an automatic assumption most of the time, I suppose.
It's not that we don't talk about him, but
yeah, but we don't focus. We haven't narrowed a focus around him.
So next week we're going to do an episode dedicated to Jordan. Just all we're going to talk about, nothing else but Jordan. Okay, maybe we'll sneak something else in, but just that.
Yep.
So I thought what we could do is we could make some lists, and then we could pick one player a week and sort of go through it. So after we do our list, we'll go through Kareem. Last week we did Magic. Yep.
We've touched on a lot of the week before I think we did Kobe. I did Kobe.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
You want to share your list and then tell us where you struggled and where it was easy for you.
So I cheated a little bit because there are a few comments here.
So did you look at other people's lists and then just
no? I had my 10, and then but I did I'm not going to write just 10. I have my who is on the outside.
That is cheating.
Yeah. But I've given 10, and then I've like notables on the fridge that I think a case can be made for. But
still, you're penalised for that, though, Ad.
My
another $2 for the swear jar.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
It's not. There is a lot of Lakers in this lineup. That's not fair. I'm going to be owing a fortune for this.
Yeah, plus the Lakers. This cost you at least $10.
This is going to be an expensive segment. So at number 1, I have MJ, who would be my starting shooting guard in my all-time team. Number 2 would be LeBron James, who would be my starting 4 in this lineup. Third, I have Kobe, who would be my starting 3. Then I have Magic Johnson, who is obviously going to be my point guard. And then I have Kareem, who's going to run the floor as my 5.
Oh, so did you do...
My top 5 are as if I was like...
starting 5?
Yeah, starting 5.
Your next 5, is that also a starting 5? Or is that just a bench?
That's the bench. We've got a lot of bigs on the bench. So at number 6, I've got Bill Russell. Yep. Number 7, I have Steph Curry. Number 8, I have Bird. Number 9, I have Shaq.
Bird is your shooting guard? Bill Russell will be your small forward then?
No, I feel like the amount of minutes that MJ, LeBron, and Kobe are going to have, there's not going to be much time. We can just push 1 to the 2. It'll be fine, no problems.
Yeah.
It'll be the bigs that rotate because I'll be knackered from running the floor with these boys.
Yeah.
And then, so at 8 we had Bird. Then 9 we had Shaq. And at number 10, it was a really tight one. I wanted to slot in Scottie Pippen, but I thought Tim Duncan deserved it, the 10th spot.
Yeah.
So, my notables, I said a case can be made for them, were Wilt, Jerry West, Giannis, and Scottie Pippen. And I think the reason West is out because lack of championships.
Yeah.
Wilt, just impact. Like, it couldn't be a list of 10 centers, or it could be, but you know what I mean? Like, it just feels that there's an overload. And Wilt may have gone off as far as his scoring goes, but I don't know. I don't think it's as impactful as, I don't know, someone like a Shaq, who's literally been labeled the most dominant big in basketball history.
Yeah.
And yes, scoring 100 points is pretty tough. Let's be real. But
yeah, definitely.
like, I feel like that's a one-off accolade. Like, if Kobe had only scored 81 points and done nothing else, we wouldn't know who Kobe Bryant was. So I just feel like, no disrespect to Wilt, but I had him on that fringe. Giannis I don't think's done enough yet, but a case can be made. And Scottie Pippen, I feel he is a lot more responsible than people give him credit for Michael Jordan's 6 rings. And he's got 6 of his own. So
yeah, definitely.
Anyway, that's
actually
my list.
Pippen made my top 10. So
yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, whew.
So how I made my list was I went through people who'd won the most amount of championships.
Yep.
I built a list out of that. Then I cross-referenced that with who'd won the most MVPs.
Ooh.
So, and that really helped me
shape it, I guess.
Take people off the list. So maybe, look, I'm sure you could pick a lot of holes in my list, but I think the obvious one that's the most controversial is Bill Russell at number 1. But I've never heard anyone have an intelligent enough conversation to convince me why he shouldn't be number 1. Like, what's the argument that he shouldn't be number 1? That if he played in a current
Jordan's
era.
Better. Yeah, I know.
No, but like, but seriously though. But is it because if he played in a current era, the things that he did wouldn't be as effective? Is that the general sort of argument?
Possibly is look, it is, there's recency bias. There's always recency bias. Like, the players you've watched and the players that you have the most admiration for or exposure to will be at the forefront of your mind. And I think the way you've done it is an interesting way to break it down, especially given the similarity in your list to other lists. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are going, well, Michael Jordan's auto number 1.
Yeah, and look, again, that's what you could probably, argue about my list. It's really just the same list as everyone else, but maybe in a little bit of a different order. But I think the 11 championships, that's the thing that really, hit it home for me, and probably where I did get a little bit stuck on. And then when you start going through Kareem's resume, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And
he was dominant. He was crazy dominant.
Yeah. So there was sort of 2 triggers for me. Once you've got more than 3 championships, that's when you start, moving up into this sort of quite elite.
You should be in that block. Yep.
And then MVP wise, if you remove all the people who won a single MVP, so you take out Russell Westbrook, you take out James Harden, sort of guys like that.
Yeah.
Once you start going to 2, so 2 is, the pool is getting much smaller, but you've got guys like Steve Nash and Nikola Jokic who, whatever you want to say about that. And obviously the Jokic
Nash was on my notables for a bit.
Yeah, but
funnily enough,
you can also make the argument that his stats were probably inflated by the D'Antoni system and
sure,
whatever. And so, but then once you get to 3 MVPs, there's not that many people who did that.
Yep.
Yeah, and then it's almost like an automatic entry onto this list. So
yeah,
but the Scottie Pippen one, like, he had 6 championships.
That's a lot of championships. Why isn't Robert Horry on there?
Yeah.
Big shot, Bob.
And maybe that's where you'd make the argument that Pippen shouldn't be there because he never won an MVP. Anyway.
It's an interesting list, though. You're right.
So I had Jordan at 3, Magic, Tim Duncan, Kobe, LeBron, Larry Bird, Steph Curry, Scottie Pippen. Rob Youngie Young had Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Wilt, Kobe, Magic, Bill Russell, Bird, Duncan, and a large one. And that's where I struggled, was a large one, because it's just my own sort of bias.
Yeah.
But it really came down to the championships, and then he just had 1 MVP. And
yeah.
And again, that sort of 1 MVP, that's a bit tricky. Do you want to do Andrew Dean's?
Yeah, Andrew Dean had Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Kobe, Bird, Magic, Duncan, Russell, Wilt, and Steph.
Yeah.
And it hurt his head to leave Shaq off the list.
Yeah.
He couldn't cut Steph or Wilt to bring in a Shaquille O'Neal. Well, obviously I made the cut. I cut Wilt. Who we have? David Ralph.
So I don't know. Do we read this one out? I think he's like taken the the sips here, to be honest.
I just say Jordan, LeBron, Bill, Magic, Kareem, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Wilt Chamberlain, and Shaquille O'Neal.
So don't mention Trae Young or Luka at the end there.
No, they're the water boys. They're not actually playing on the greatest of all time team. They're just hanging around. They're just getting water for the greats.
Fetching the towels.
That's it. Fetching towels. That's all they're good at. More shade at Luka, of course. I couldn't help it. God. All right. Who else? Who's next?
Ryan Jewell.
MJ, Magic, LeBron, Wilt, Kareem, Shaq, Russell, Bird, Duncan, Curry.
Yeah. So we're definitely getting some recurring themes here, aren't we? Very similar names, but then
the order, a couple left. There's sort of a top 12 emerging, or 11.
So we've got Carl Morey, who you might know famously from the Card Codex Boys. So thanks, Carl, for contributing, mate. MJ, LeBron, Kareem, Bill, Magic, Larry, Wilt, Duncan, Hakeem, Shaq. That's, A
couple in a row that have forgotten Kobe. But I guess that just goes with Jordan. They're the same player, right? Okay.
Look, I can understand the argument for leaving Kobe off.
I get the argument. I just love the way Shaq argued it.
What did Shaq say?
Shaq's like, hang on a second. Everybody said Kobe is a carbon copy of Jordan, so why isn't Kobe on there? Like, if he aside from only getting 5 rings, but do you know what I mean? Like, if as a player, he's the carbon copy, just in a different time.
Yeah.
Why isn't he on the list? And that. I think that's Shaq's way of sticking up for Kobe. Like, I don't agree that they're carbon copies. I think there are a few differences, but I do hold them in very similar regard as far as the way they played the game.
Yeah. So I actually think when I was looking through the list at the championships one, I think it really does delineate between how difficult it is to win 3, 4, 5, and 6, and seeing the players who won 6 and seeing the players who won 5. Like, that actually is kind of a cool way to almost organize the ladder.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's actually, for me, an easy way to sort of say, well, actually, Kobe was probably, one step behind Jordan, and
a step behind Jordan, but a step in front of LeBron.
Yeah. Yep.
It's interesting.
Maybe I need to reorganize my list.
Oh, look, I think everyone's list is their
No, I
list.
did. I had Kobe above LeBron. Actually,
You do. Yeah. You do. Richard Goddard.
It's a short list.
Jordan is always best. Top 1. Done. Don't worry about the other 9. Jordan is number 1. There's 9 other players.
Just Jordan 10 times. Yeah.
Jordan and the rest.
Timothy Price, our last one. MJ, LeBron, Bill Russell, Kareem, Magic, Bird, Wilt, Duncan, Kobe, Curry. So,
yeah.
And he left out Olajuwon. Yep. Yeah. So thanks everyone for sharing. We had a great time going through that, and
it's a nice little thing to go through every now and then, and who knows? Maybe we revisit other mountains, not so much Rushmore, but maybe we look at positions. We could look at.
I think every player listed here deserves a segment.
Yeah, and then once we've gone through those, we should go through maybe eras. Maybe we should go through positions. Maybe I don't know.
Sure,
we'll find more content. Don't worry.
So we're going to focus on Kareem this week. If you're listening to the podcast, please click on the podcast description. You'll find a link in there. And when you click that, it'll take you to our Facebook page. And then you can actually flick through all the cards we're about to talk about. So how I divided this up was I didn't want to go too crazy and list, 20 cards. So I tried to keep the list to 10. That was my sort of ultimate goal.
Yep.
And I divided it up into Card Ladder's top rated cards. And then I divided it up into ultra modern, and then in the ultra modern I had a sub $10 card. I wanted to have at least a pocket change card in there. So that's how I did that.
Nice.
So if we start at the top of our list, it's the 1986 Fleer card, and I was really surprised that this was his most highly rated card by Card Ladder, because I just assumed it would be his sort of the tall boy, his rookie card,
the Lou Alcindor.
Yeah, but it does actually make sense that this is probably the most liquid card considering the set that it came out of. So this is the very famous Jordan
Fleer.
rookie, 86 Fleer. So Look, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing card or, anything like that. But at the same time, I do understand the liquidity of this card and how it could be the most traded card. Like, the logic is there.
Yep.
The other thing I like about this card too is a PSA 8 is in the $100 range.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's not out of your reach by...
It's not,
Might take you a couple of weeks to save up for it or, whatever. But at the same time, the PSA 10, on the other hand, that's selling for $4,680. So there is a massive jump up between...
Bit of a jump.
The 10 and the 8. And that's actually a theme that's going to be very strong coming out of the next cards that we do talk about.
Yeah.
And we've spoke about this a fair bit over the last few months about as the population of cards starts to build up and the gap that's now beginning to show itself between 9 and 10. So, and I would say going back into the vintage stuff, that's something that you're seeing much more heavily delineated. So,
Yep. So it's well, I was going to say the population on those cards are very different from the ultra modern era.
Very different.
How many Lucas are we at now? 150,000 rookies? No, anyway.
We can check it up. If
we can go and do a check later on Zion.
I didn't do any prep on that, to be fair.
No. Yeah. But I'm sure the numbers keep ticking up as people find rookie cards. On to Kareem, card number 2. I'm sure it's the one I'm thinking of.
So this is his 1969, the rookie card.
Yep. Is that the Topps Luel Sindor?
It's the Topps
extra
one,
long.
And it's very long, yeah. So this is the one that I thought was going to be number 1. And this is something that is on my all-time sort of grail list. I have a lot of respect for this card. And the reason I don't have it in my collection is because of the price. So a SGC 3 is currently selling at $868 USD. So that's around 1,200 Aussie dollars.
Oh, wow.
If you look at the all-time data for this, it did have a spike during COVID, but it's almost as if during that COVID time, it just sort of held tight and hasn't really, moved much at all. It has slid down a little bit, but I think that's actually the best way to describe this card. It's really sitting at COVID, pricing. So this is not something you can just, really easily acquire. And then, as you go up the PSA ladder, so does the pricing. So the PSA 10 recently sold for $240,000. The previous sale, though, which was in 2016, these don't sell, very often at all. That's sold for $500,000.
Crikey!
Yeah,
that's a price. I've just for those on the live stream, I've been messing around, and I've now got these images up on the feed.
Thank you, sir.
There we go. So on the YouTube, on the Facebook, you'll be able to. And the Twitch stream, you'll be able to see what cards we're talking about. So I'll just go back quickly. That's the first one. And all right.
So my question for you, Ad, is this something that you covet for your collection at that price?
The Luel Sindor?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's one that I go back to every now and then, and I'm like, it's tough. It's a card I would want, and it worries me. Like, it's like, how would I, like, at what? Yeah.
I do wonder, though, for this card in terms of the slow burn, actually, is this a very safe card to purchase?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Particularly in the lowered... Like, you can see the PSA 10 has had, a massive variance.
Yeah.
But if you look at everything else, apart from obviously during that COVID time, it's been very stable and very steady.
It's one of those... I guess it's... How do you put it? It's a historical card. It's never his career is done. Yes, there is one person that's now scored more points than him, but I doubt that's ever going to be changed. He's always going to be at least number 2, and he was number 1 for forever. So, yeah, I like it. It is like a piece of history. It's one of those. It's like the Jordan rookie. It's the 86 Fleer Jordan rookie. It's that. It's one of those.
Yep.
It's one of those icons of the sport.
Definitely.
Or the hobby in our sense. But yeah, I don't know. What grade do you think would be, at what point do you go, you know what? I'm just going to go for a low grade.
That's where I would enter. I would buy nothing more than a PSA 2 or a PSA 3.
Yeah. Because
just purely for price point. Like I'm being realistic here.
That's what and that's where I'm sort of looking at it going, is there a price point where I just go, that's too much for that grade and the population? Because I'm trying to figure out where I sit, because I'm looking at the population counts as well. It's tough.
Yeah, definitely.
It's actually like an interesting little debate.
That's super fun.
If anyone wants to just give me a PSA 10, that's fine. I don't mind.
Like for
one
lifelong,
of them. There's only two of them.
For lifelong sponsorship of the show, do you reckon?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Alrighty. Next on the list is a 1981 Topps Kareem card. And this card I literally knew nothing about. So this was purely, I pulled this from the numbers.
Is this the same? Is this the same as the Magic set where I was talking about last week with Magic?
Maybe.
The one that I consider as his rookie card?
Oh, okay.
I think it's the same set. This is where the Magic one comes from.
So my take on this card is, look at the sales all time on this. So basically for between 2005 and 2020, it was sitting very consistently around sort of the $80 to $100. And then COVID went crazy. So let's just take that, sort of crazy bit out. I do have to tell you the all-time high, the PSA 10 sold for $4,898. And then let's go down to sort of a pretty reasonable price, which is $1,413. And that was at sort of towards the end of 21.
Sheesh.
If you look at that from 21 to now, it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Is that the type of card where, this is a bad analogy, but like the Net Marvels or a Sneaker Spotlight, one of those sort of insert cards that just does really, really well? Is this the type of card where you jump into the market and you say, this is just a really big player. It's a great card. It's a PSA 10. It's an iconic card. It's an important card. And actually, for a long-term purchase and hold, this is just like something, really good to put into my collection. That's how I feel when I look at this card, because there's nothing other than that to me, other than, obviously the player that is, it's Kareem. Now, keeping that in mind, so that's what the PSA 10 last sold for $1,100. The PSA 9, this is where it gets really interesting. Last
Juicy.
sold for $95. So, and I think this is where I really love cards, is because, I would never spend, I wouldn't purchase that card for $1,100. It's just, I wouldn't put my money like that. But the PSA 9, keeping that,
that's a different story, right?
Yeah, like I think that's a really great purchase, and I think that's something that over time is just going to hold its value.
I agree. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
I like it, especially at $100 for a PSA 9.
Yeah.
What does grading cost these days? $50.
A little bit less than 50 AUD, but yeah.
Interesting.
Next on the list is the 1972 Topps card. Now this is,
isn't he? He's bending down to fit into the card, so I didn't want to do a long one again.
Yeah, this is very iconic, this card though. This is because it's got this sort of, it's almost an art card at the same time as a photo, and that very 70s sort of lettering at the bottom too, with the blue writing. This is probably, I like this card more than the last card.
Yep.
Now, obviously, this is not traded as much as the other card, and I do get it. It's like the other card is a very nice card. Like, don't get me wrong, but I personally like this one better. And the PSA 9 last sold for $2,300. So, which
population of 110,
which is maybe why the other card is traded more, because it is just that little bit cheaper. The PSA 10 is $16K. Yeah, that's wild, isn't it? That
is wild. The population on the PSA 10, mind you, is 7.
Yeah.
That is a rare card.
Yeah, so PSA put this overvalued at 23% overvalued. I'm actually, I don't value that information that much, but in this particular instance, I'm going to agree with PSA here. I actually think this card's a little bit over.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's
I'd love to hear if anyone disagrees with my take on that too, because there's probably a very good reason why it's so expensive. Or the population explains a lot, doesn't it?
The pop explains a lot.
Yeah.
Population of 110 on the PSA 9, but a population of 7 on the. I guess any super serious Kareem collectors to get that card. I mean, if there's only 7 that are of that quality,
you're in that echelon of Kareem collectors if you own that card.
Yeah.
Alrighty, our next one is for the pocket change enthusiast. This is from Prism Draft, which is a product that I very dearly love.
Bang.
This is from the choice boxes. So this is the choice scope, the blue, yellow, and green. This is when he played for the University of California. And this card sold for $5 USD. It's not numbered, but it definitely gives you a chance to buy into something that is ultra modern, but in his sort of retro, his college uniform more specifically.
Retro look. Yeah. Shout out to Prism because they do a lot of the legends. The set you'll find, and look, this is specific with the draft picks, but they do. I've got a couple of just like silver prisms and things from the previous Prism sets where they've done Kareem. Generally, it's in a Lakers uniform, but yeah.
The next one I picked because it's an on-card autograph, and actually what I wanted to highlight here is, so this is a Contenders Optic on-card autograph. It's numbered to 15, so it's low numbered, but I actually think this went for a little bit over in comparison to the card that's after that on the list. So this sold for $300 USD. And look, I don't think the person who bought this, got ripped off or, anything like that. I don't think it's shill bidded. I'm definitely not trying to create controversy. It's a lovely card.
Sure.
And whoever bought it, congrats. It's beautiful. But if you then move into the next card, which is on the list, which is the flawless autograph. So that sold for $323 US. And
wow,
typically this is numbered to 20, so there's there is a couple more of these, but for that extra $20, I think I'd be stepping into a flawless.
You think it's a time and a place thing, like an auction? That's
definitely
just the timing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I would also say a little bit at the moment too. It's more of a buyer's market.
True.
So if there was someone chasing that particular optic card and pushing it up, whereas there was just literally no one trying to buy this flawless card, it might have I'm using air quotes for people who are listening at home, fallen into your lap for 323. Sometimes you do just get a little bit lucky. So I love this flawless card. It's for me. If I had to choose between the two, I would be going for this. I love that Lakers uniform. I love that very classic sort of, sleek design they've created here. And it's still shiny, but not too shiny. Do you know what I mean? They've really captured that, quite nicely.
Yeah. It's well that's what flawless do. The name lives up to it.
Yeah.
Nice on card. Is it on card?
On card, yep.
Looks on card. So
this last one, you'd be surprised how little of his patch stuff sells. I had to search quite long and hard. That's an exaggeration, but a lot harder than the rest of it. Let me put it to you that way. Yep.
That is a beautiful card, by the way.
That is, yep. Flawless number to 25. It's patch autograph. So again, game worn, yellow and white patch. That sold for $819 USD. I'm actually...
What?
I'm totally fine with that. Look, it's on the high end. I acknowledge that.
No,
but at the same time,
I think I think that's a good that's a bargain at that price. Game worn, I would take it.
Absolutely. Final thoughts on Kareem.
Final thoughts on Kareem. It's a player that obviously I want to have a little bit of in my collection. I posted up on the
tell us about your autograph. So what made you buy that card? Because
so my one for those playing at home is the Noir NBA 75.
Yep.
Which doesn't look like a Noir card. It doesn't feel like a Noir card, I will say. But it's the 75. I got the Kareem. I saw it at the Hobby Hangout.
Just to interrupt you, they nailed that subset, by the way. Yeah,
that is amazing. And
whether it looks like a Noir card or not, to me is irrelevant. It came out of that set. It's just a great looking card. Yeah.
But I feel like Flawless or National Treasure should have done it. That's the design that they should have.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really elegant for that. Yeah, I think Noir's gone above and beyond. They hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, definitely playing above themselves there. Yeah, so I saw it at the Hobby Hangout. I mean, the long and short of it is I saw a Shaq that I wanted and our friend of the show, Joe, Shaq32, swooped on it before I came back around and got the Shaq. So still wanted a Laker great, and I'd seen the Kareem 75. That was the other card that caught my eye that day. So I did not mess around any further and went for that one and said that'd be a nice addition if that's the key Kareem in my collection.
Yeah. And sorry to razz on you, Joe, but you made the right decision out of him anyway. That was the right Laker to purchase if you were choosing between the two.
Yeah, true. Probably right. Kareem just before Shaq.
Definitely.
Wilt can go third.
Sure.
We're talking Laker bigs. Dwight didn't feature there as a Laker great. Anyway, I'm not even going to start.
Oh, okay, quickly on Dwight. He tweeted that if he doesn't get picked for the USA team, he's going to naturalize to the Taiwanese and drop 89 points on them.
I love Dwight Howard. He's so funny. Oh, that man. I tell you what. Anything to get into the spotlight, right? Anything to get into the spotlight.
There's so many dirty jokes I want to say right now, but I'm just like...
Yeah, we're not segueing into the Dwight Howard...
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So we were talking about you purchasing the Kareem card. Anything else you want to talk about that before we...
No. It was just it was a really nice purchase. There are these players on this list that I think that they're cards that I would definitely say that people should consider owning at least one of. They're literally the greats of the game, which is why obviously we want to talk about them. Their careers, well, some of their careers are pretty well set in stone. There's a couple on there that haven't quite set yet, but they're up there for a reason, and the stats aren't changing. They are always going to be in the Hall of Fame. They are greats. They're amazing Hall of Fame careers that defined the beautiful game that we love, and owning one of these cards is owning a bit of that history. So, yeah.
Yep. I do have a Kareem autograph, but I found it very difficult to buy into a price point with him that I felt comfortable with. I definitely wanted an on-card autograph, and I wanted him in his Lakers uniform, that sort of classic gold, as you call it.
Yep.
I ended up getting a Dominion because I think that... So that set, there's a few cards in it that obviously aren't fantastic, but there's a few cards in there that are similar to what you were talking about before with the Noir at 75. Like, there's a few Dominion cards they absolutely just nailed.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that overall I don't think Dominion has been that well received, that particular card that I purchased, I think went undervalued for what it should have gone for. And that was really, I was trying to find something that, was a little bit of value.
Yep.
Now, look, if I happen to keep that card forever, I'll be happy with it. But at the same time, if I include that with another card and I trade up, or I put that card in some cash and I trade up to a bigger Kareem card down the line, that's kind of what I've got in the back of my mind of what I'll be doing. So that's where I'm sitting.
We had a couple. I submitted my Kareem on the Facebook group. It looks like there's been a couple of. Chuck your one up. I'll see if I can technology well on the video. For those that are listening at home, as Russell said, click the link, and you won't have to deal with me kerfuffling around with the Facebook page.
Yeah.
But I will try and share with those playing at home. That's one from Timothy Price. That's a nice, as he said, can't go past a nice flawless auto. He's in the purple there in the Lakers uniform. And then what do we have? We had Nathan Lee Thomas. I do like that Lux set, like with the is that a silver texter on card auto?
Yep.
Number to 20 again. That's in the gold. Nice shot of Kareem in that one.
So I'm going to go out into a limb here. I'm going to put that Lux into the same... I think that was more expensive than my card.
Yeah.
But the same sort of thing where I think you could pick up that card and it'll go a little bit less just because of the set that it is.
Because of the set.
Yeah.
And then up on the screen is, the Noir NBA 75, which, as I said, it just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a Noir card, but that's no discredit to Noir. That's actually huge credit to them, I think.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. I think this card, they didn't finish it the way that they normally finish. They put an extra coating on this. So normally you get a lot of edge problems with Noir, but I don't believe this particular subset had that issue.
Yeah. Well, I hope not. It's a good looking set though. This one looks phenomenal. So,
okay, everybody, we're going to tie it up here for this week. So thank you so much for listening. And actually, we'll give you a second episode for this week too. So in the next couple of days, we'll put up another episode. So
part 2 will drop and we'll carry on.
We'll call it episode 105 though, I think, just for simplicity for us counting. Because otherwise,
and to confuse me next week when
we just get too confused, Dad.
We haven't really missed numbers.
We did a couple of times.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.